Today we will discuss about the benefits of getting books and the burial sites, what are their contribution towards building history. Now let us start in Indian background, how the books they started influencing history, how they are helping us, rather how they are reflecting what exactly happened at that point of time, and how they help historians to get data from the subject content whatever they have. Now if you imagine a book, what is the first thing that clips in your mind? That is language and literature. Every book that must be written in a specific language, they are building some literature. Even the books in the ancient book, whatever we have in India, we can find that a specific language that dominates after they started writing book, mostly at the time of Aryan civilization, Vedic civilization. Why we call it as Vedic civilization? Because this is the time when the first literature we can say in India, that is Rig Veda, we can find the time era of that. I cannot say that that was written at that period of time. Rig Veda was not written, but this is the time when it was composed. If we see this language of this time period, we will see that there is a dominance of a language that is called as Sanskrit. Everything, every hymn or everything, whatever in these four Vedas composed, that was based on Sanskrit. Now Sanskrit, we can say that is a mother of all these Indian languages. Vedas, if we see that it is actually, we can find four Vedas, that is Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda and Atharva Veda. Now Rig Veda, that is the first one, no one has written that Veda, it is not written, but people started writing about Rig Veda's hymns, but that much later period. The time period Rig Veda is reflecting, that time people started hymning it. It came as a hymn, that one teacher, maybe he used to teach to his disciples by singing those hymns. They are mostly, they call as sukta, that means well said. So some well said proverbs, maybe something that people are worshipping to some of the gods, those are composed by many people, many sages, while teaching to their students. Now these students, they used to listen and remember it. It was never written at this point of time, and people started memorizing it. It was never written, but the way generation after generation they carried all these, the content of Rig Veda, that was completely by memorizing them. Oldest Veda is Rig Veda, almost 3500 years ago it was composed. I told you that it was never written by one particular people, rather it was composed by several sages. Rig Veda includes more than 1,000 of hymns that basically they are praising many gods to get some benefits. It used for performing some pujas and all, and people started, their disciples, they started learning from their gurus or from their teachers. The gods, the important few gods, they were especially Agni, the god of fire, because I told you in earlier chapters that fire was something that people started at this point of time, they started preserving it, because fire can be was a change. Actually the discovery of fire, controlling the way to how to control the fire, after discovering those ways, people started getting much more beneficial life than before. So they started worshipping fire god as Agni. Next, the warrior god, that is Indra. Indra also, mostly all those Rig Veda's hymns we can find it is about praying to Indra, because Indra was someone who was protecting them. The tribes, they were getting protection from the outside attack or foreign attacks, and another one is soma, that is giving, it is a plant actually, that used to make some alcohols and a special drink, special type of drink that was beneficial for medicinal purposes and that medical purposes, and that is these three mostly in Rig Veda was dominated by these three nature gods. Here you can see that there was no one, someone that is giving extra some mysterious power, and that is the reason people are worshipping them. Rather, in this period of time, we can see that people started worshipping some few gods, those who are very much connected to their daily life, their real life. These hymns, mostly it was composed by all the sages or rishis, because that was the point of time when only the sages or the rishis, they used to teach people, they used to teach a very handful of the disciples how to perform all those pujas. People were not always allowed to perform pujas because they were not even able to do it. Now, these sages, they taught their students how to recite these hymns, how to memorizing this hymn, and then how to recite this, and then how to perform this. Their each syllable, word, how to pronounce them properly. These also was taken a great care at that point of time. These were, we find that this was a male dominating society, because mostly these all were done by men, and very few, we can say it's very few women we can find here. Vedic Sanskrit is a different from the Sanskrit now we learn. It was a different, because there are many changes, different type of changes that incorporated after so many years. It was written down several centuries. Rig Veda, as it was not started writing at the very first point of time, it was just memorizing. Sriti and Sruti. Sriti means that people used to memorize, and Sruti by hearing it. So, by listening to their gurus, they used to memorize these hymns. That was the way this Rig Veda, this literature that grown up. Now, Sanskrit is a part of family language that it is a Indo-European, we say that Indo-European group of language. It is a part of that. Assamese, Gujarati, Hindi, Kashmiri, Sindhi, these all languages mostly derived directly from Sanskrit. So, it has a basic, many similarities we can find that they have with Sanskrit. Rather, the Dravidian family is a little different. They are this family, rather we can find that it is the South Indian languages mostly influenced by those type of language. Now, not only Indian languages, we can see influence of Sanskrit in other languages also, like German, like Spanish, like somewhere in English. Take example of mother. The original Sanskrit word is matri. For matri, the word ma derived, and in English we can see that word mother from matri. It is very much resemble. We can find the resemble. Both the words are somewhat. We can see it is connected in their pronunciation. The way people started pronouncing in a particular area, that derives as a language. So, Sanskrit has a great influence on this group of language. So, these also showing us the way, the areas they started, the people of these group people, they started developing their own culture in so many places, though their basic language was the same. This was the time when different Janapadas started developing, and we have different name also. Vish means Jana. So, different Vish at that point of time. Later on, we will find the term Vaishya, that also derived from this word Vish. So, language as well as the community was developing, one after holding each other's hand, we can say, developing one after incidents. Now, sometimes the people who composed hymns, they describe themselves as Aryan, as the master. They started telling them as they learned, they know many things, so they started calling them as Aryans. and on the other hand, the people, those who were very native from this land and they were not able to like pronounce properly the particular language that the Aryans they used to speak, they started calling them as Dashas. Now, these Dasha words came from Dashu. Dashu means the robber or the dacoits. So, the people, those who are invading, they are giving name to the people, those who are here, because they are depriving them to get their basic needs, and they give their name as Dashas or Dashus. Now, they spoke a different other languages, and this Dasha actually then started like with a meaning as slave. These Aryans then they started making these people as that they started make them work for them, and they started calling them as Dashas or slave. Now, slaves in women we can see that they call them as Dashis. Now, how they got their slaves? Slaves are the people, mostly the native people of that place where they started developing their culture, their cities, their vish, their janas. The native common people, those who after a fight, maybe after a war, they got them as prisoner. Now, this prisoner mostly they used as their slaves. Now, we can see that while Rig Veda being composed in northwest of the subcontinent, we have seen development in other areas also. Now, we will see that how different words they started describing people. They now in a state where they are giving particular word for a particular theme, keeping there in their mind. There are several ways, the terms, they work, they do, how people are describing themselves. They started giving the description by the way they are working, by the place they are staying, sometimes by the name of their family, if it is a famous family, the family name, and that is the way even today we are getting our surnames, though there is some difference. This is the time when the group was described by the term of their work, like the priest. If a priest who is performing pujas or teaching their gurus, they are teaching their students, they were called as, they are described as Brahmins. And this is Rig Veda, during the time of Rig Veda, caste, this is you can say the beginning of the caste system. But during the time of Rig Veda, caste was not as per birth, it was as per the work. Maybe in one family, we have seen that there are 4 types of people, like maybe the father is performing the pujas, so he is called as priest, he is a Brahmin, and then the one member of the family, maybe his son is fighting for the country, so he is protecting the country or protecting the territory, so he is performing as Kshatriya. Then someone who is doing some trade, some business, or maybe doing some agricultural work, so he is Vaishya. And maybe the mother or the daughter-in-law or the daughter, those who are doing for the family household chores, so rather serving other people, working for the other people, they are the Shudras. So, it was just as per their work, how they are working, depending on that people divide their caste. Though afterwards it was changed. Afterwards we have seen that it was completely based on their birth. During the time of Rig Veda, we have seen that all the Rajas, like those who are the leaders of the tribe, it was not fixed by birth, rather it was by a mutual consent of all the elders in the tribe. But it changed as the days goes on, and during the time of other Vedas, not the Rig Veda, but mostly Yajur Veda and Atharva Veda, we have seen that yes, there is a major change where the caste system was completely controlled by birth, like if you are a son of a Brahmin, you will be a Brahmin, like that it was changed. And some few work was strictly confined for particular caste, like those who are doing some manual jobs. These group of people, they were never allowed to learn or to upgrade themselves to other social structure. Like a Shudra's son will always be a Shudra. They were never allowed to come out of their structure and be a part of the Brahmin types of works. They were no more controlled by their birth, but they were no more controlled by their work, rather by birth, by the end of the Vedic period. We can see that sometimes we can see that some of these leaders, they some of them, they are given a particular place in the among the people, like those who are performing pujas, I told you, as the Brahmins, they are given the hierarchy in the social structure, rather those who are, and that the way it came down. And rather the people, those who are serving them, the common people, they are giving the lowest structure in the social system, and they were named as Sudras. And mostly the entire society was based on them, the common people. But Vaishyas, they were controlling the monetary part, Kshatriyas was controlling the territory, and Brahmanas was controlling the intellectual part, you can say, of the society. So the common people, those who are doing common household income or the agriculture or serving other people by doing some other jobs, they are giving a very low position in the society, though they are the majority in the society. Sometimes we can see that people who compose the hymns describe them as Aryas. We have seen that, and they started terming now one class of people as Dash or Dashis. They don't have any right, those who are captured in as a prisoner in any of the war, in that case they don't have any right in the society. Rather by birth, rather they are dedicated to just serve people, they are masters, those who have captured them. Here we can see that not only the books, but some places we have seen that we have found evidences that also help us to build our history, that is the burials. That means we have seen that huge megaliths, megalithic stone. You remember that megalith means huge stone, huge stonic structure that they kept in some of the places to mark those places as a burial ground. Now here also, when we see that how they made all this burial ground, we have seen several things that is given us the glimpse of that particular time of society, their society and their people. We have seen that the stone, they have made huge stone boulders of megaliths, and literally they are huge big stones, and they are carefully arranged by the people to mark a particular place as their burial ground. This practice of erecting megalith, even it started almost 3000 years ago. Even now, though it is not megalith, but some of the customs, even now they are making some memory, to keep the memory of the deceased person, they keep a lith or a stone on the burial places. Even now we can see this culture. Sometimes they even we have seen a particular place was nicely they use stone boulders to cover them. Maybe that also can be a reason that they must not disturb the place for any reason. There is a reason they covered that place, that some other people, they know that this is a place where they are keeping their dead bodies, so they are not disturbing that particular part of the earth. Even we have seen that some of the major families, they kept their burial ground nearby their house. So this also is following a tradition to keep their beloved ones with them. This is giving us another clue also of their nature. This is the time people started believing life after death. They started believing that even though they are beloved, they left them forever, but they are protecting them. They are with them to protect them with some supernatural power. So they started keeping some few things, the things they use for their daily use. They started keeping all those things in their with their dead body after when they are burying them. These have a common feature that they are buried in some distinctive pots which are called black and red ware, and we also found many tools and weapons along with this. Sometimes the iron, the skeleton of horses, that means maybe it was a favorite horse of the person and they buried that horse also along with that dead body. And maybe it was their imagination that these people, they may use it even the life after death, where they are going, they may need this and they can use it. Even we have found that they kept the dead body dressed beautifully with golds and other ornaments also. That also we have found that.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.